Yeah, I believe we can start the session. Meanwhile, people will be joining. Yeah. So, hello everyone. Welcome to session on power loss, India's energy sector. So, here we'll be discussing about uh, what is India's energy sector, what is the career opportunities, and everything about that particular landscape. I'm sure this is a new topic for pretty uh, much people over here. And if anyone is well versed here, then that's really very nice. You will have an enriching learning here. You will be adding on to all the things that you have learned. And today, to have this a unique session, I could say, we have Assistant Professor Saksham Mishra with us. He's a legal scholar and educator and an experienced person in energy law sector. He's currently working as assistant professor of law at Karnavati University, Gandhinagar. Along with that, he's also pursuing his PhD from GNLU, that is Gujarat National University, wherein his research primarily focuses on the critical aspects of energy regulation, policies, sustainability. So we couldn't ask any other best person other than him to speak about this topic. And yes, so the wonderful part about the session that I could set an expectation here that you are not going to learn something which is in textbooks or which you can find everywhere. Today, the session will be a learning about the practical aspects, the career aspects, and also the things that nobody has told you. It's a kind of reality check that we are going to have today. Yeah, happy learning, everyone, and it's over to you, Saksham.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for such a wonderful introduction, and uh, a very welcome to all of you, and a very good evening to all of you. I hope my voice is audible, and in case if there is any network issue with regards to my voice, kindly let me know through chat box. And I want this session to be very interactive session, and this is a session which will make you curious about energy law. This is a session which will going to create a lot of doubts in your mind regarding energy laws, and which will make you a lot of very curious about energy law. I said it will going to raise a lot of doubts in your mind this session, because I just want you to be very curious and interrogative about this subject called as energy laws. And I must tell you, this is a subject which is very close to me, and I've been into this subject for last almost like 10 years, because during my graduation I was specialized in this subject, and then during my post graduation from National Law School Bangalore, I continued my scholarship in this subject. And even now during my PhD, I am researching on the areas related to renewable energy regulations. So energy law is something which is in which I am for last 10 years, and I'm really amazed to know that not very people, they are very aware about this sector, about the regulation of this sector. And most of them, they think that this is a sector which is reserved for scientists or people from technical background. And whenever I tell them about this sector called as energy laws, they always ask me, what is this sector all about, and what is the role of a lawyer in this sector? So this session will be a very introductory.
Uh, you got muted by mistake. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah. So I was telling that this sector will be this session will be a session which will going to help you to understand the basics foundation of the energy laws and about the energy sector of India. Okay. So now let's start. So I just want to share my screen. So I'll be sharing my screen. I hope the slides are visible to all of you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, great. So the title of this session is An Introduction to India's Energy Sector. But before talking about India's energy sector, we need to answer few fundamental questions about the very term called as energy. Ki energy hoti kya hai? What is energy all about? Okay, so anyone among you who can just tell me what do you understand by the term energy? per se? Yeah, you can use your microphones and you can answer. Anyone? Yeah. Okay. So let me start this triggering question, that what is energy? See, what is energy and why energy loss? See, you need to understand that the term energy we use is in the context of the fuels, the sources of power, the sources of powers which has helped in human development, in the development of human resource. In today's world, the emerging economies of the world, they are emerging because they have better and promising energy resources. Take example of United States of America. They have huge reserves of oil and gas, and therefore they are able to produce products at a cheaper cost, or they are able to increase their foreign exchange reserves by exporting oil and oil products or gas products, which essentially means that for economic development of any country, the basic requirement is that the country must have sufficient access to energy resources. When I'm talking about energy resources, I mean oil, gas, petroleum, coal, renewable energy, nuclear energy, etc., etc. So all these energy resources, they help in the economic development of any country. And therefore, if you see the GDPs of the top-notch countries, you will find that all those countries, they are investing very heavily in their energy resources. They are ensuring that their energy supplies are secured, reliable, and trustworthy. They never want a situation where they are into energy insecurity. Now, what is energy insecurity? It means a situation where you are lacking with the sources of energy. And if any country lacks with the sources of energy, there will be direct impact on its economic development. And hence, energy plays a very important role in the international diplomacy and international relations among the countries. The entire Russia and Ukraine crisis, one important aspect of this crisis is because Ukraine has huge gas reserves, and Russia don't want those gas reserves to go in the hands of NATO countries. And therefore, there is an insecurity within Russia that if Ukraine joins NATO, then the other European countries, they will have access to the gas reserves of Ukraine. So you can understand the very importance of energy in the geopolitical situation as well as in the international relations. And equally, it plays important role in the national development. So energies, they are the powerhouse of any national economy. Okay, and it plays a very important role in the development of any economy, and it has played an important role in the development of human race. Okay, so from very simple resource, we have now moved to very advanced sources of energy. I have given a very basic chronology. If you see at point number four, the development of energy resources started from human physical resource. So during the Stone Age or during the primitive times, we use our own physical force or our own physical energy to do the production. We do everything by our own hands and shoulders. Slowly, humans start using the energy from animals. Human domesticated animals like horse, camels, elephants, and they use their energy to do the production activities. With the time, when men invented fire, they used woods and bio-waste as a source of energy for cooking, for heating purposes. Slowly and slowly, with the era of industrialization in the 18th century, men started using coal. And you know, during 18th centuries, the European countries, they have used coal as a very prominent source of energy, and they have developed and industrialized. In the similar way, in 19th century, oil was discovered. And you know, today, the entire Middle East, Saudi Arabia, how rich they became because they have huge resources of oil, reserves of oil. And those reserves enable them to export it and become a strong economy in the world. So from human physical energy to animals energy, to woods, biofuels, to coal, now to oil and gas. And now we are shifting from oil and gas to more advanced sources of energy. For example, nuclear, which are called as clean sources. For example, solar, wind, green hydrogen. These are the new advanced resources of energy. So I'm telling you this chronology to make you understand that this concept of energy is very old concept, and it has played a significant role in the international relations, geopolitics, and the national development of the countries. And therefore, there is a very strong justification for regulating energy resources. Energy resources को regulate करना is very important because of the following reasons I've told you. And from that very perspective, the new term called as energy governance came into picture. Countries started regulating their energy resources. They started imposing tariffs. They start pricing systems. They start the contractual arrangements amongst each other. International trade took place to make sure that they earn through exports of energy. Okay, so this is a very broad geopolitical context and historical context I'm trying to give regarding energy. Now, the next question which comes into picture is about why energy laws? What is the role of energy laws? Or to put it very simple, what is the role of law in energy sector? I hope all of you are with me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So am I audible? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So
you are audible.
I usually keep on asking these confirmatory questions to make sure my audience is with me. Okay.
I understand that. I can totally relate to that one.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Let's go back to the slide then. Great. So the question is, what is energy and and why energy laws? And now we'll go to the more fundamental question regarding what is the role of energy laws in the energy sector. See, I've put these slides with these questions because when I was introduced with this subject, these were very fundamental questions which came into my mind. What is law? What is the requirement of law in this sector? Okay. So let's look at these pictures before indulging into questions related to law. I just want to show you all these pictures because these pictures will going to tell you about what are the different sources of energy. So the first picture, as you can see, can anyone tell me? And you can use a microphone. Let's not keep it a monologue. Can anyone tell me the name of this resource?
Is it nuclear power plant?
Power plant and coal.
Hmm.
Great. The second one.
Oil.
Yeah.
Crude oil.
It's an oil rig. It's an oil rig. Good, good. The third one.
Hydropower.
Great. Hydropower. Then this fourth one.
Solar and wind.
Solar and windmills.
We call it renewables.
Solar
Okay.
energy.
Great. You know
Green
about these sources. Great. This fifth one.
Green hydrogen.
Green hydrogen. The name is suggesting it. Green hydrogen. Okay. And this last one is.
LNG.
What is the full form of LNG? Can anyone tell me?
Liquefied natural gas.
Good. Liquefied natural gas. Okay. So there is an entire process of gasification and regasification, which is done to make sure that these LNGs are transported. And let me tell you, marine law, shipping industry, they play a major role in the transportation of LNGs and oil resources. Okay. We'll come to it later in this slide, but just showing that picture of ship denotes the importance of shipping industry, okay, in the logistics. Great. Yeah. So the next question which which came into my mind when I was a student of energy law during my initial years was, if it is all about science, then why law is required? Because मैंने अभी आपको जितनी भी चीजें बताई, whatever pictures I've shown you, all these pictures shows that, see how much technical things are required: drilling, use of turbine, kinetic energy, solar energy, coal, thermal. And I was a student from commerce background, so the obvious question which came into my mind is, see, this involves a lot of science. Then where comes the role of law? Let me tell you the reasons where law infiltrate in this sector. The first reason was the commodification of energy resources. Commodification means when any commodity, or let me tell you a more basic word, when any product turns into a commodity and that product has a market, and that product can easily be bought or sold in the market freely at prices. That is called the process of becoming a product into a commodity, or commodification. So commodification of energy resources means when energy resources turns into a commodity and then emerges an entire market of energy resources. So the one who is producing electricity, he can sell it. The one who is digging oil, they can sell it. The one who is mining coal, they can sell it. And the one who needs them, they can freely buy it. When this started and it grew into a market, that is called as commodification of energy resources. So when commodification of energy resources took place, naturally the role of contract, the role of ownership, the role of lease, license, agreements came into picture. And when it was happening domestically, and then suddenly it started turning into an international trade, international agreements. So parallelly, both domestic and at international level, there was a requirement of rules and regulations to govern the transactions of energy resources, the buying and selling transactions of energy resources. So to govern those transactions, you need regulations. And so you need specific contracts governing energy resources, called as fuel transportation agreements, power purchase agreements, revenue sharing agreements, production sharing agreements. I'm just telling you the name of these agreements which are there in energy sectors. Okay, these are the few names of these agreements. Okay. The second is emergence of energy market at national and international level. I've already covered this, that once energy resources start becoming commodity, their national and international market emerges. Third is the globalization and colonization. Britishers went to South Africa not to colonize those people, to train them, to make them civilized, because in South Africa, they have access to resources. They came to India because of trade purposes, commercial purposes, and the globalization, the era of globalization that has actually enabled this colonization and transportation. So when globalization took place, and before globalization, when there was an era of colonization, at that time, extraction of energy resources has increased, and therefore there was requirement for regulations, for laws. The fourth aspect is about exploration, production, and distribution of energy resources. When energy markets emerged, obviously the next question was, who will going to explore energy resource? Who will going to produce them? Who will going to distribute them? And how it will going to happen? For all these things, you need laws. The fifth one is about ownership rights, contractual arrangements. Who will going to own coal? Who will going to own oil resources? Suppose tomorrow you own a land, you purchase a land, and beneath that land, huge reserves of oil was discovered. Now the question is, to whom the ownership will belong? Will it belong to you or to the state? The question is about how the state will going to control these resources, and how will you allocate the ownership of these resources. Okay, So if you see Article 297 of the Indian Constitution that talks about the control of the state over the resources in the continental shelf, in the ocean, and in the land. Okay, so the entire question about the ownership of these resources. And the last one is about environmental concerns. The entire issue of climate change, greenhouse gas emission, increase in temperature, all these things have led to another set of regulations called as the environmental governance of these resources. Whenever you use any fossil fuel based resources, there is an emission of greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide. And there are international norms and there are national norms with regards to the regulation of those resources. So all these set of reasons in tandem led to the emergence of law in the energy sector, the requirement of regulating the energy sector. I hope I'm making some sense to you all.
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Any observations? Okay, great. Now, let's move back then to the slides. Great. So we are talking about, what is the role of law and how law comes into picture in this sector. So I've given you a set of reasons, and there are many other reasons also. Okay, but these are the prominent reasons why you need a law in energy sector operations. Second, now let's define energy laws. The next question which came to my mind is there any uniform definition of this subject, energy laws? Or is this subject has any existence or not? Or is it just a buzzword? See, I'll tell you a very interesting incident. During my 4th year, I applied for an internship in a law firm. It was a law firm which was working in the core energy sector areas. And they asked me to appear in an interview. The first question which was asked to me is, define energy laws. And I was like, what is energy law? And I've given a lot of explanation, but they were not happy with my explanation. They said, give us a definition in just one word. So this is what I have told them. It is the application of legal principles in energy resource governance. That means for becoming an energy lawyer, you need to be well versed with all the other laws. You need to be well versed with property law. You need to be well versed with contract law. You need to be well versed with your trade law. You need to be well versed with your investment law, because all these things comes into picture when you actually deal with a real life situation in the energy sector. So energy law अपने आप में कुछ नहीं है. It's just that application of all the other legal principles in the context of a particular energy resource. That's it. And there are very good papers where scholars have debated that is it really a subject or it is just a buzzword. So according to me, it is application of all the other legal principles in energy resources governance. That's it. That is what we call as energy law. Okay. And to understand energy law, you first need to understand the energy business, because business came first and then law to regulate that business. And before understanding the business, you need to understand the nature of that particular energy, how it is produced, oil kaise banta hai, how oil is actually extracted, and after extraction, how oil is refined, and after being refined, how it is being used. What are the different byproducts which are extracted from oil? Don't get afraid. You need not to need to go into very technical nitty-gritties, but you need to broadly understand that what is the actual nature of the resource with which you are dealing. For example, coal. You know, there are different varieties of coal. There are coal with maximum carbon content. Then there are coal with lesser carbon content. And on this basis, there is a bifurcation of different varieties of coals. And based on the carbon content, pricing of coal takes place. And on the basis of carbon content, regulations are made that how much carbon content should be allowed in a particular variety of coal, which you can use in a particular country. So to make law or to draft contracts, you need to first understand the nature of energy productions. What is oil? What is coal? What is renewable? What is solar? How solar energy actually works? What is hydro projects? Broadly, you need to understand. You need not to go into nitty-gritties, but you need to understand them. Second is that once you understand the nature of energy, you need to understand the business, how business operates, okay, how business functions. And once you understand the business, the entire value chain of that resource, then comes the role of energy laws, because to regulate business, laws are meant. लॉज बनी ही इसलिए ताकि बिजनेस हो सके. Okay, so it is a basically top down approach. Okay, now with this clarity about energy resources, about energy laws, then about energy business, and then about the nature of energy production, I will going to throw some really interesting aspects about energy sector governance to you. Mind, I told you right at the beginning, it's an introductory class. So I will not be able to tell you each and everything, but I will give you a certain level of clarity as to how this sector operates. Okay. So I hope all of you are with me and you are getting my points. Is there any doubt, any observation which you want to make? Okay. If you have any doubt, you can use a microphone.
Hi. Actually, I was wondering, this just got me thinking, how businesses use green credits. Do energy businesses have such credits in this sector, or you know, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, there are credit systems of with regards to energy business also, which is called as carbon credit markets, where to meet the carbon emission obligations, entities buys and sell the carbon credit systems. Okay, as well as there are also called as RPOs, renewable purchase obligations, where an entity is obliged to purchase certain amount of electricity from renewable companies. That is called as RPOs. So there are separate set of regulations which are meant to oblige entities to buy electricity from renewable companies. And there are carbon credit markets also. I hope I have played it out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Great. It's good that you are asking questions that will bring clarity to others also. Yeah. Let's move forward then. Again. So now we are shifting towards India. Okay. Now slowly I will going to throw you some figures, some concept about India and in general also. Okay. So this is the India's current energy mix. Okay. Now the question will come into your mind is, what is this energy mix? And I have also highlighted it. Energy mix is nothing but it is the share of all the primary resources in a country's energy basket. Like in India, suppose 100 units of energy is produced. Now, out of those 100 units of energy, how much quantity of energy is produced from which kind of resources? For example, if you see, I hope okay, I'll just zoom in. Okay. For example, if you see in India, the contribution of gas is 8.19%. The contribution of hydro is 1.8. Contribution of coal is 29.8%. Contribution of renewable is 1.85%. Nuclear is 1.56%. And coal is a major chunk of 56.8% of the entire energy produced in India in the year of 2021. Now, what does this mix show you, or what observation do you have with regards to India's energy mix? Can anyone share its observation, his or her observation? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you have any observation with regards to this energy mix which I've told you? India's energy mix for the year 20 to 21.
There is a huge dependency on coal, and the share of RE and everything is very minuscule. But
Yeah.
I understand that is there because of the still the market is growing, and there is a base kind of an energy source which coal serves to add on to the RE sources.
Great. Yeah. Anyone else want to pitch in?
And yes,
I think
and
coal and
also
nuclear are the two sources of energy which we are using at present in India, apart from that developing the windmills and gas turbines, if I'm not wrong. Coal and nuclear.
Okay. Also, it would be great if you can tell your name before answering it. We'll get to know each other. Yeah. Great. So, two observations are very correct and accurate observation that in the year 2020 to 2021, India heavily relied on coal and then oil and gas resources, approximately 29% of oil and 8% of gas, and still the share of renewables and hydro is very less in India's energy mix, which also shows that India is heavily dependent on fossil fuel based resources rather than clean energy resources. Although the share of renewable is increasing drastically in India's energy mix, and India is ambitiously increasing its renewable energy installations, okay, especially in western part of India. Okay, when it comes to nuclear, we are almost next to very less amount of share, around 1.56%. Okay. Now it has its own reasons why this is happening, because there is a treaty called as Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and then there is international diplomacy of US, where it is not allowing us for sharing the technology with regards to a small modular conductor of nuclear. So again, the role of international politics plays a major role in defining the energy mix of any country. Okay. Yeah. Now I'll introduce you to the core verticals of energy sectors. Here I have written India, but you can relate it with the global aspects, global standard. Okay. In any country, there are three core verticals of energy systems. Okay. Now I have here taken the example of oil and power, electricity. Okay. So the first vertical or the foremost vertical which comes first in the production chain is the upstream vertical. And let me tell you, I am here explaining you the business. And along with this business aspects, I will tell you where the law pitch in. Okay. So I'm explaining you the business verticals, but also I will tell you where the role of law comes in by examples. So the first vertical is upstream vertical in oil and gas. Upstream activities are activities with regards to exploration and production. Explore and produce. So for example, whenever we find any oil reserve, first thing which we do is upstream activities. We do the geological surveys. हम उस जगह को explore करते हैं, geological survey करते हैं. We do the digging, we do the drilling, and we see that how much quantity of oil is actually there. Is it really worth investing 20,000 crores, 60,000 crores in digging that oil? And is it really worth for investment? Because what if we invest heavily at the upfront, and when we start exploring oil, we found that the oil reserve is lesser than the amount of investment we did in that area. So first of all, reconnaissance takes place. We call it reconnaissance contracts. And for this, allocation of blocks takes place. So the oil blocks, they are allocated to different companies. And those companies, they take oil blocks on lease from the government, state. And here comes the role of state. State allocate those oil blocks to the companies. And companies, they bid for the oil blocks. And on a single oil block, multiple companies operate. Some companies exploring oil, the other companies exploring gas, The other company is exploring shale gas. So different companies, they operate simultaneously on a single block, and this block is allocated to them through bidding. Here comes the picture of law to facilitate the allocation of blocks. Is that clear? And how this entire process of allocation and exploration will take place. So all these things are regulated under upstream verticals. The regulator in India with regards to upstream activity is DGH, Directorate of Hydrocarbon, which is under the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. That is the regulator which allocates the blocks to the companies for exploration and production activities. That is with the context. That is in the context of oil and gas. Now let's come in the context of power sector, electricity, generation companies. यहाँ पे हम क्या बोलते हैं? Generation companies, which generates, called as generation companies. Generation companies are those electrical companies, which electricity companies, which generates electricity using raw materials like thermal power, coal, renewable, solar and wind, hydro, using the kinetic energy of water. So a generation company essentially generates electricity. Now, this generation company is authorized by the regulators to generate electricity by way of a license, which is being granted to them. And in that license, there is a fixed quantity which is given. The quantity and the size of the plant which is given. So here comes the role of the regulator to determine the generation capacities, the sources which will be used for generation. Okay, the methodology which will be used for generating electricity. So the first vertical is upstream vertical in oil and gas, and generation companies in electricity. Both are same. It's just that there is difference in words and terminologies. The work which essentially they are doing is producing and extracting of the energy: coal, oil, gas, electricity. Now, once the oils are explored, or once the electricities are produced, the next obvious question is how they will reach to the end consumer. It is not possible that all of us can host a electricity plant just behind our home. Electricity plants are generally far away from our homes, or the oil rigs, they are far away in deep sea. How they will going to transport all this oil, this electricity which they have generated to the end consumer? For this, there comes the next stage of this vertical, which is midstream in oil and gas. Midstream is basically refers to those entities which involves in processing, transportation of the crude oil, which has been extracted at the upstream level. So once in an oil rig, oil is explored. Now that explored oil needs to be transported to the refineries. This transportation or logistic work is essentially performed by midstream companies. Now here comes the role of shipping, Directorate of Shipping, DGH, and the entire marine industry. They play a major role in the transportation of oil and natural gas. Okay, so the entire logistic work in the oil and gas sector refers to the midstream companies, and they make lots of revenue by transportation. They are not involved in exploration activities, nor they are involved in dispatching the energy to the final consumer. They are basically transporting it to the next level, which we're going to read in the next slide. In the similar way, there comes this transmission companies. Transmission companies, they develop power grids. Grids, you know, those electricity grids, jo lines jati hain badi badi. Those lines are basically laid down to transport electricity from one city to another city. And then there are regional dispatch center, load dispatch centers. All this infrastructure of transmission lines are developed by transmission companies. In India, one of the biggest transmission company is Power Grid India Limited. PGCIL, sorry, Power Grid India Corporation Limited, which is basically responsible for developing the entire structure and infrastructure of the transmission lines. If these transmission lines are not there, we would never be able to electrify all the villages in India. So access to electricity is basically dependent upon how strong your transmission network is. And how strong your transmission network is, that directly depends upon how strong your transmission companies are. I hope all of you are with me. You are getting my points?
Yes.
Are you finding it difficult? Yes or no? Are you finding it difficult? Or easy? Yeah, okay.
After the
Yes.
session, we will read about it and maybe probably we will have more questions.
Okay,
the
okay.
same.
Yeah. Great. Let's come to the next aspect then. So this is about midstream and transmission companies. Then the last segment of this vertical is downstream companies. Now, upstream companies, they have produced oil. Midstream companies, they have transported the oil. Here comes the role of the downstream companies. Downstream companies are those companies which finally distribute the products to the end consumer. आपने पेट्रोल पंप देखें, गैस के पंप्स देखें, आपके घरों में पाइपलाइन से गैस आती है, ये सब काम है डाउनस्ट्रीम कंपनीज का. देयर इज एंटायर रेगुलेशन ऑन सिटी गैस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क्स कि शहरों में गैस कैसे जाएगी. देयर इज एंटायर set of regulation with regards to distribution of oil and gas for residential use, for commercial use. Who will going to distribute them? How they will going to distribute them? So for this, there are companies called as downstream companies, and they even do refining also. India is the refining hub. We have one of the world's largest refinery infrastructure, Reliance, BPCL, IOCL, all these companies, they are downstream companies. They don't directly explore oil. Oil is explored in India by ONGC or ONGC Videsh in foreign. IOCL, BPCL, they distribute oil to you. So they are downstream companies. And in the similar way, in electricity sector, we have distribution companies. Tata Powers, they do the work of distribution also. They do the generation work also, but in distribution also they are involved. UGVCL, Uttar Gujarat Vidyut Company Limited. State electricity boards. Now, today almost all state electricity boards are dissolved, but still, state has their role in distribution also. So these distribution companies, they finally give you electricity connection and supplies electricity to your home. They even charge tariffs and decide the final tariff which you will have to pay for electricity. So these are the three broad verticals: upstream, downstream, midstream, generation companies, transmission companies, and the distribution companies. Now, based on their activities, different regulations are made. Based on their requirements, different regulators are established. So the entire chunk of energy law in India is to regulate these three activities in the energy value chain. अब इन्हीं के बेसिस पे डिसाइड होता है कि कौन सा रेगुलेटर क्या करेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, each vertical has its separate regulation and regulator. Directorate of Hydrocarbon, it regulates upstream activities. Petroleum and Natural Gas Board, it regulates downstream and midstream activities also. Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, it acts as a regulatory body also and as an adjudicatory body also. In the similar way, we have state electricity regulatory commissions. And you will, I don't know whether you know about it, there is a lot of litigation which goes on before CERCs and SERCs, Central Electricity Regulatory Commissions and State Electricity Regulatory Commissions. There are a lot of litigation under electricity laws, under tariff rules. And for that, you need to know about these structures, these rules and regulations. Okay. Then you have Ministry of Power and Natural Gas. Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Ministry of Power. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And you have Ministry of Environment and Climate Change and Forest. So and there are many other regulators. So all these regulators, they in tandem regulate the energy sector of India. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, with this, we're going to stop the lecture with regards to the energy sector. Now, I will be telling you about the career aspects of this sector, because some queries were raised that I need to tell the audience regarding the career aspect also, because uh, apart from knowledge aspect, it is also important that the sector must be promising enough to provide employment opportunities to the uh, uh, to those who want to join this sector. So let me now brief you regarding the career aspect. Before going to that, any question you have, any observation you have, you can pitch in. Feel free. It's just a interaction, informal interaction we are having. Don't feel hesitate. How do you really like about this area of law? What are your feelings? आपको कैसा click किया? Are you really curious to know about it? या आपको समझ में ही नहीं आया तो भी आप बोल सकते हैं. Anyone? Okay.
I will break the ice here.
Yeah.
So to be very honest, I completed my graduation in the year 2015. And since then, energy law had been a big question mark to me, very honestly, because that is something which was an unconventional subject by then. And even now today, because many of the students feel that there are no much of job opportunities in that. So better get expertise in corporate law, get expertise in contract law, IPR, so that the scope of job is vast and broad. So I learned a lot, many things that, okay, so these are the energy sources. So even though it was a very basic concept, but for me, it was a very new learning that, yes, so even the sources of energy, the nuclear power plant, the hydrogen plant, and all the other things that you are discussing. So it was really a kind of eye-opener to me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, then now we're going to discuss about the career aspect with regards to energy sector. And I'll just share my. Okay. Now I'll just wait. Okay. See, basically, there are three different kinds of employment avenue opportunities you have in the sector. First is about transactional work. All of you must be aware about law firms, about their functioning. So law firm essentially performs two different aspects of work. First is their transactional work, where they facilitate any transaction. They do the compliance, they do the regulatory work, and they facilitate the transaction. For example, someone who wants to invest 1,000 crores in India with regards to upstream oil and gas activity. Now, I think all of you must be aware about upstream. Whenever I'm saying upstream, okay, आप इतना ही बोल देना जो कहीं ऐसी जगह पे जहाँ पे एनर्जी पे डिस्कशन हो रहा है, they will give you a privilege. At least you know about this term. Upstream क्या होता है? So suppose someone wants to invest 1,000 crore in upstream activities in oil and gas. Transactional lawyer will enable this transaction, will facilitate this transaction by doing all the documentation. तो पहला काम जो है वो है become a transactional lawyer in law firms. Second is advocate for energy companies. Become an advocate for energy companies. I've told you CERC, SERCs, DGH, PNGRB, Petrol and Natural Gas Board, all APTEL, Appellate Electricity Tribunals. All these are various forums where time and again there are disputes with electricity companies, oil and gas companies, downstream companies, theft of electricity, petrol pump pe petrol chori ho raha hai, fine lag raha hai. All these things, they go before the regulators, and they need lawyers who are aware about their regulations. Generally what happens, a normal advocate who does not know anything about energy law they take the case. Then they do the research and represent the clients. The advantage which you have if you do this, start reading about this subject, is that you will be aware in prior about these regulations. So, and you also understand the business. So you have an edge to prosper in this sector. And the third one is academia. Go and just see the scholarships which are provided in energy laws, climate change. You will be amazed to know that so many scholarship options are available with regards to higher education, PhD, postdoctorate, LLM in energy and climate change. Both are interrelated. And just to tell you a figure, total energy revenue in the financial year 2020 is around 6,99,565 crores. And this was an year of pandemic. Okay. So if revenue is there, then the sector also has employment opportunity. Now let me show you some interesting images. This is the web page of JSA, Jyoti Sagar Associates, a top tier law firm. It has energy and power and hydrocarbon, a separate team. AZB Partners, again a top tier law firm. It has renewable space, a separate team. ELP, economic law practice, infrastructure, project and energy, a separate wing. Khaitan, energy infrastructure resources, a separate wing. मैंने आपको 4 law firms के बारे में बताया है. Just go on a website called as Legally 500 and click on energy and infra, and you will see how many law firms they offer services in energy and infra. And all these law firms, they need good people. They need at least a graduate who know about the term upstream. आप सर्वे कर लो, मैक्सिमम लोगों को अपस्ट्रीम का मतलब ही नहीं पता है कि अपस्ट्रीम एक्टिविटीज होती क्या है ऑयल एंड गैस के अंदर. बिकॉज ये सब्जेक्ट कभी भी ऑफर नहीं किया जाता लॉ स्कूल्स में जनरली, या अगर ऑफर भी किया जाता है तो उसके अंदर सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी लॉ पढ़ाई जाती है, ऑयल एंड गैस को टच भी नहीं किया जाता. एंड आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू अबाउट ऑयल एंड गैस. अभी तो क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स भी हैं इसके अंदर, कोल है आपका, ठीक है, और हर एक रिसोर्स की एक अलग बिजनेस साइकिल है. ये तो 4 लॉ फर्म्स है. इंडिया की आज के समय में हर बड़ी लॉ फर्म एक स्पेशलाइज्ड टीम लेके चलती है जिसका नाम होता है एनर्जी एंड इंफ्रा. और उस टीम में उनको ऐसे लोगों की जरूरत है जो इस सेक्टर के बारे में जानते हैं, एंड दे हैव जस्ट ग्रेजुएटेड एंड दे नो अबाउट दिस सेक्टर, क्योंकि उनके लिए इजी होता है टू गेट देम वर्क ऑन दीज हैवी ट्रांजैक्शंस. I'll tell you my experience. During my 4th year, I interned with Sumanto Basu and Associates, a law firm in Delhi. The law firm offered me a stipend of 22,000 during my 4th year because I was aware about oil and gas basics, and they want an intern who can help them in drafting basic contracts on oil and gas. I was aware about that, the terminologies of the contracts. So I was being offered the stipend of 22,000, and only 5 or 6 people are working in that law firm, and the transactions were of thousands of crores, and they were doing all the work. They were soliciting, they were facilitating the transactions, and they were also representing the clients before the Supreme Court, High Court, and tribunals. Okay, next let's come to the next part. Who are offering the teachings? National Law School, Bangalore. I am also a pass out of National Law School, Bangalore. I did my LLM from there, business law. And one of my faculty from UPS Dehradun, Miss Sushmita Haldar, she is teaching this course, International Energy Law and Policy. Whatever she was teaching, I was aware because my specialization was in energy laws. So I didn't opt for this course, but NLS is offering this course. And apart from NLS, I think only NALSAR or NUJS. I think these 2 NLUs they offer. Then comes one more college, I think TERI or UPS. Apart from them, no one else actually offering any comprehensive course on energy laws. So I can very safely say that there is a very dearth of scholarship in this subject and awareness among the students regarding this subject. So the entire purpose for this organizing this public lecture is to make all of you aware about the fact that this subject has a lot of potential to offer you good jobs. Okay, it's just that you need to get yourself updated with this subject. Go and read the booklets of these law firms. They routinely publish the booklets. They will give you some gist about this subject. But this subject, if you know, will open your gateway in academia, in-house, or before any regulator in disputes. You will be aware about the nitty-gritties of these subjects. Okay. So, continuing in this context, we are planning to float a course on energy law, where I will be, and along with me, few of my other colleagues who are working in international universities, all of us will going to offer a course on energy laws, covering all the important aspects of energy laws of India: oil and gas, coal, electricity. Okay. And those who are interested among you all, they can join this course and can get the knowledge about this sector, very niche knowledge. Okay. So I hope this session has made you more curious about this subject. At least now you will going to go back and read some details about this subject, and that is the only purpose of organizing this lecture, to make you more curious. Okay. Any observation, anything you want to share, now you can, and feel free to share your views.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
So I'm not exactly into energy law. I'm still an undergrad, but I'm interested in energy economics, knowing how this industry works. And if I want to pursue masters in energy economics or environmental economics, how what will be the opportunities?
Can you please repeat your question? The last thing that you have asked, you are not clearly audible.
Hello.
Yes.
Are there any opportunities in energy economics that you can share with us right now?
Energy economics. Okay. See, energy economics is slightly different with regards to energy laws. But let me tell you, even for understanding energy economics, you need to understand these verticals, which I've told you. Because economics runs around these verticals. You need to know about upstream, downstream, midstream, and also about their regulations. So even if you pursue any course, one segment of that course will also be regarding the laws which regulates these sectors. So as a beginning for energy economics, you can start reading about energy laws and the businesses, and then you can obviously pursue any other full-fledged course on energy economics. Yeah. Okay. So any other observation you want to bring in or pitch in? Fine then. I think this. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. I think now if you want, we can wind up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I believe there are no more questions, and also like whoever are willing to obtain the e-certificates, please do share the snippet of the session along with your full name to the WhatsApp number that has been mentioned over there. And also by tomorrow we'll be giving this, issuing the e-certificates, and also whoever couldn't attend the session, we'll be sharing the recorded session also, so that you can go through it. And also you can get connected to us via social media. So we'll stay connected.
Yeah. Thank you, Devyani. Thank you, Anshu. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Saksham. Thank you so much for making time. And the session was really insightful. And
Thank you,
also,
Mansi.
yeah, that was like really good. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Arpit.
so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.